What allows us to do the lotus posture is outward rotation at the hip joint. If you don't have enough available, you will not be able to get your ankle onto the thigh. But even if you can, if the knee is still hanging like this, you're still not ready. And if you do force your legs into the pose, the lack of flexibility at the hip joint will translate into excessive pressure at the knee joint, resulting in pain. So, which are the muscles restricting that movement? The first ones to look at are the adductors. When they contract, they move your legs towards the center of the body, which means that when they elongate, the opposite happens. The more flexible they are, the more external rotation they will allow. Secondly, but as importantly, the piriformis. This muscle rotates the hips out when it contracts. But when the hip flexes more than 60 degrees, its function changes to internal rotator, meaning that you will elongate when there's outward rotation at the hip joint. The more it can stretch, the more rotation there will be. The last ingredient for a nice and tight lotus is the thigh muscles. As they attach to the knee, they will limit knee flexion when they are too inflexible. But you don't have to worry about them if you can effortlessly do this or this. The first stretch is for the adductors. You are not holding the feet with the hands, so it's very important to have the feet on a surface that doesn't let them slide away. A rubber mat is perfect. A second must is to have your lower spine firmly resting against the wall to prevent slouching, which would make the exercise less effective. Now that you're ready, bring your feet together and gently pull the heels towards the groin. Don't force it. The more flexible your hips, the closer the heels will be to the groin, and the closer the knees will be to the floor. However, if you are too flexible for this, you might not be feeling any stretch. In this case, use a block or something similar between the feet, and you'll see your knees rising, as the posture now demands more outward rotation from your hips. Next step is hands on the knees, and gently, gradually, slowly, lovingly, push the knees towards the floor. You will notice that every 30 seconds or so, you will be able to push a few millimeters more, or even centimeters. I suggest you to do this for at least 2 minutes every day, even longer if you want, even twice a day if you want. The eye of the needle is the most basic and, in my experience, most successful stretch for the piriformis muscle for all levels of flexibility. Lie down as I'm doing. Then bring the right ankle to the left knee. The ankle, not the side of the foot. The shin is fine if your hips are tighter. Now the right hand goes through the eye of the needle, reaching to grab the knee. The left joins from around. You can hold the back of the knee if it comes easier. If you still can't reach comfortably, I have a trick for you, as simple as a wall. Now the left foot will be resting on the wall, while the right one does the same thing as before. Here, you won't even need to use your hands, as the wall is doing the work. And if the foot doesn't get there, just slide farther away from the wall, and that's it. This is where you should be feeling the stretch mostly. An action you'll be doing here is drawing and maintaining your tailbone as close to the floor as you can. That will make the stretch possibly more accurate and spicy. Do 2 minutes of stretch on each leg or more if you want. And if this is happening to your neck while lying down, just rest your head on a pillow and enjoy. A potentially more intense and, if you're flexible enough, more enjoyable alternative for the piriformis is the pigeon pose. From tabletop position, move the right foot to the front and slide it over behind the left hand. If the hips are tight, your body will ask you to move the foot closer to the groin, and that's fine. Just don't bring it all the way back. Now lower the right knee to the mat and begin sliding the left leg backwards. as you sink the hips low. The more outward rotation is available, the more the hips will lower. Already now, if you feel a pinching pain at the right knee, your hips are not ready for this. Lucky you, you have the eye of the needle as an alternative. To enhance the stretch, see if you can tilt the pelvis forward, thereby increasing rotation at the hip joint. I also encourage you to explore this pose and move from side to side to find your own sweet spot. To make it more relaxing, you can rest your elbows down or even come all the way down with the head. Also here, 2 or more minutes on each leg.